Welcome again to Wickerson Studios. I'm looking at RHINO script syntax, and I'm trying to pair that with Revit, and I think this is where I'll go with this. I'm still translating this Chinese text as best as I can into RHINO Common and trying to understand that, but I am starting to throw in the towel a little bit and saying, hey, let's just figure out what some of this RHINO script syntax functions do. So I'm going to use a very simple one here, and I'm going to use Scott Davidson's online script for RHINO inside to bring geometry into Revit. So what you have is a parametric control over here that if I want to go into RHINO and update in RHINO, you're going to find that that must update when it moves over into Revit. So that's a pretty interesting tool. I'm interested in why it maintained the past form as opposed to kind of baked it in and left it there. That's pretty interesting. I'm not sure why that happened. So let me jump in here again. Maybe I won't move that one. Set that one back. Let me grab a couple of control points here. My screens are getting a little small, so it's getting a little tricky. And navigating and scrolling is a little bit different in RHINO as it is in. So that's an interesting technique that when I'm moving in RHINO, I'm actually baking, and I'm not sure if that's because I'm in hidden shaded as opposed to wireframe. Could be that the function itself is baking. Boy, that's a new one for me. It's because the script itself that's borrowed does bake it in and keeps the other iteration in RHINO. So that's something that's worked out. This first script of generic categories taking a surface, generic models, and this one's under can be classified as anything you want in Revit. I'm most excited that I'm actually going to start playing with Revit primitives, dealing with these things very, very soon. But I also wanted to revisit the GHPYTHON node. So I'm trying to bring a lot of things together out of absolute curiosity and novice creative nature that's in myself. So I've also put a sphere on there. Interesting that that's, as soon as this is united and it moves in the Revit, I can still play off of moving my sphere here. And of course it's updating on the first surface that was there, not the second one, because this one's actually covering it up. I guess I can try and delete that one. I did learn a little bit about pinning and unpinning. My face is usually not sitting here the whole time. There, it should be gone. I'm not sure where I pushed it to. But this is all pretty new to me, all of this structure up here. And I'm following a few tutorials on Archistar Academy. I will learn Revit better as I go. And keep in mind, I've never been an architect, and I was not much into computational work for a long time, so I'm just looking to pin. I know there's a couple of quick little samples. It says to pin. I thought there was like something down here. For those that know what they're doing, this must be driving them crazy. And you can also type something that does a quick pin or not. Needless to say, it's what it is. I've got a surface. I've got a script I wanted to share with you as well, which shows a wonderful function within RHINO script syntax. It's kind of embarrassing that I don't know what it is, so hold on. It always takes me 5 seconds to get my sound back after I truncate. I was having trouble finding it because it's way down here on Modify at the end, and then you can see, because I was dealing with my architecture tab. And this is what it takes, just getting in here and learning one by one. And here's the little pin tab, and if I don't want to pin this sucker, I will go back to that Modify, generic, and what happened there? I just had it. Modification, generic model, and I should have been able to pin it and not pin it, and of course now it's disappeared. Yeah, it's shortened, so then I'm just going to unpin. I think I did, and or at least pinning, and then not pinning. I should be able to delete that. There we go. So that one's gone. I didn't mean to bake it in there, and I think I'll leave my little face down here at the bottom of Revit because I'm not doing much in the Revit system. But then again, the script itself, I've added a couple of divide B and A inputs, so I'm able to move this. And I don't have the numbers exactly right. I don't drop them below 1 because I don't want them to fall off. And because this is a division, I can't go to 0, so I don't want to bust my script. But basically, I'm analyzing. Once you get through Scott Davidson's very nice scripts that he's brought in from RHINO inside, I've also taken from the Chinese text, and I wanted to visit the surface curvature. and what happens with that. And surface curvature kind of works like a list function. I guess that's how I describe it. It's the same thing we did in the last video, domain U and domain B, setting it from surface from 0 to 1, 0 to 1, which is like reparametizing it, which you're accustomed to doing here and going in and reparametizing on a surface when you import one. But since it's a rep, you can't reparameterize it. If I had brought in a surface, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's been so long since I've been playing around with Grasshopper now. I'm losing my mind. So why am I blind? Okay, so if I brought that in as the rep, and that was the geometry I brought in, I could have gone there and reparameterized it. But since I did it in my function, there's no worries. And then the curvature parameter is basically that function, a surface curvature, that surface between the list from U to V. And in doing so, you can pull the list items out, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and those are specific to point in, and here's the data as we generate it, and you can see it down here. Point out, which I have jammed up here. Maybe I'll just drag that down so you can see it. I actually turn that into a sphere. I guess we can see it here, so we can visualize that a little better in the RHINO. And I'll just move it to maybe the center. Maybe take a division by 1 by 1. That'll put it right in the corner. As I start to divide that, you can see I pull that sphere over to wherever I want on that surface. But it's going to tell me the surface normal direction out at the point. So that data is changing. It's going to show me the normal direction out and give me, I believe, a vector right there. Let me see. Oh, curly brackets, I believe. And then max curvature direction. Why is there not a min curvature direction? I must have screwed something up. Min curvature direction, curvature, min curvature, min curvature out, min curvature. What did I do wrong? Something I messed up just there in the typing it in. I'm sure it's something simpler. Curvature min. I'm just checking it. Oh, I see the problem, and I'm getting pretty good at least locating sort of where the bug is. So that should give my min curvature out, my min curvature direction out, then my Gaussian curvature, which comes with this very small decimal, and then my mean curvature. And I can change those numbers around. And let's just play with double click to edit. I don't need that one. I only need this one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bits of data, including the point. Pretty interesting. My script's running, so nothing's coming out of the out node. So we're still kind of looking at Python, how to write it. All these will be floats. You'll have to type your type hits to floats because that's what I put in here is divide A and divide B. I didn't import, but this is really a chance as these get more complex. Like I said, I will be importing math, and I will be importing Revin. And I'm trying to get down to not just importing everything. I want to import from something, import so-and-so. And we'll get into that as we go a little farther. The next thing we're going to deal with is something a little more understandable in what you'd normally do in Grasshopper. And I'm going to be taking a look at, let me just test that and run that script. I'm going to be taking a look at divide surface, which is going to be a nice way to come into using this information, that point, to actually divide these in ISO curves and split up your surfaces. And then we're going to go into some more complex things, adding circles onto those surface normals and having fun with some geometries on a surface we've generated. Keep in mind, this is all intended to develop so that when I start to bring it in the Revit, I'm going to start jumping into these Revit primitives because we are running Revit in Grasshopper, in RHINO, in Revit. And I'm sorry to be such a novice at this, but I'm a curious novice and I obsess about things. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you enjoy the direction of where I'm taking the GHPYTHON node, jazzing it up a little bit. Why not learn Revit 2021 in the process? If you're questioning why even be this creative in this way, well, I don't know. It seems to be a way of just playing a wonderful. And now it's not baking. That's interesting. Let me throw a little rotation on the blue and see what we get. There we go. Now it's not doubling up the image. There's something odd going on before that must have been a bug that was baking it and keeping it. But I like having this control because I've tried to accustom myself to Grasshopper learning RHINO over the last 2 years. And now I want to be able to play with that and know that my geometries are solid, they're producible, they're fine. And for the students that I'm getting turned on to Grasshopper and RHINO at KCAI Sculpture Department, they may have architectural interests. And what a wonderful way to start coming in and start thinking about writing these scripts, but applying them to something that's not just a organic kind of crazy form that's maybe not even printable to the 3D printer. This is totally able to be sent on to engineers, and you get those nerves curves translated in such a way that you're actually fabricatable. And I think this is going to move the class into a more advanced setting. Anyhow, thanks for watching. 10 minutes. Let's see what's next. Dividing surface.